All right, here we go. So I'm the expired client and you are the agent. Let's go.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hello, is this John?
Yes, this is.
Hi, John. This is Gloria Camarillo, and I noticed your property at 123 Banana Street came off the market this morning. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, no, we took it off the market. We're probably gonna wait maybe another 6 months or whatnot to put it back on the market. Yeah, we're just gonna take a break, but thank you for the call.
I see, I understand and respect that 100%. May I ask why you decided to take it off at this time?
I mean, it's really, not important, but we're gonna take a break. Yeah, thank you though.
I understand completely. And before I let you go, I just have one more question here. If you were to have sold, where would you have moved to?
Sorry, why is this important?
Oh, just to go ahead and get an idea of, where you were wanting to move to, the reasons why you were wanting
Oh,
to.
yeah, no, that's not, I mean, no, we're not selling. So yeah, appreciate it.
Well, if in case in the future you do need to reach out again, I'd love the opportunity to go ahead and chat with you some more. May I have your email address and we can go ahead and connect?
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, you can give me a call back in 6 months, like I said.
Is this a good number for you then?
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome
All
to
right.
call me back.
All right, John. Thank you for your time.
All right, great. Okay, so what are some opportunities there? Why don't we mastermind on this? Jerry, what do you think? What was it? Cesar, what are some
um,
opportunities there for Gloria?
to the rebuttal or the rollover could have been well, if I can show you how you could net what you want or create some attractive numbers, would you still be interested in selling?
Was that when you're talking?
Yeah,
No,
so that's certainly one opportunity for sure. What else? Let's brainstorm and mastermind on this. Yeah, what else?
She's here. I have to get ready.
Nobody else. Okay.
Come on, guys.
Well,
I didn't do that
certainly.
well.
Well, Gloria, you certainly did great. I mean, you're so conversational and so kind sounding. I was very nice, right?
Yes.
And yet, like, you're welcome to call me back in 6 months. I kept saying that, right? And a lot of times, in the beginning of the conversation, I might not be wanting to disclose any motivation, any sort of information, unless I felt comfortable with you. I wasn't there quite yet.
Hmm.
So, a lot of times it's like, oh, where you immediately ask me, well, why did you not want to sell anymore? So my opportunity that I saw was the fact that, a lot of times when we ask why, it's more confrontational than the prospect would like.
Okay.
It's kind of like, hey, Gloria, why did you wear that hoodie today? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So so a lot of no, no, and I love hoodies. I'm wearing a hoodie too, so I'm not making fun of it. So, but it's, you see, like, it could come off a little bit confrontational. It's like,
Sure.
oh, why did you do that? Right. And I always tell my kids, hey, why did you do that? Why did you throw the milk on the ground? Right. So it's kind of like a make wrong conversation. Instead, like, I'm curious, if you had sold this home, were you staying here locally, or are you thinking about moving out of town altogether? And the reason and the intention behind my question is because we may have a lot of listings that you may like in our inventory that we can match you up with. So let me ask you, if you had sold, where would you like to move to? So I would reposition it and then state the intention behind it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I think maybe let's pick it up from there again, because I want you to have a positive outcome for the day. So let's get right back into the role play and redo that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which do we go from the beginning?
Yeah, let's go from the beginning. Let's do it
Okay.
again.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hello. Is this John?
Yes, this is. Who's this?
Hi, John. This is Gloria Camarillo. And I was wondering about your property at 123 Banana Street. I see that it came off the market this morning.
Yes, it did. Yeah, but we're taking it off. We're not looking to sell anymore, but you're welcome to call me back maybe in about 6 months.
I understand. And I'm curious. I forgot the line you said. I'm sorry.
Well, you could go right into it, right? If you had sold the home, where would you go next? And then I would push
Okay.
back. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I'm
you handle
curious
that and
if-
move on. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm curious if you had sold the home, where would you go next?
Why is that important?
Uh, um,
So there's the line, right? There's a line.
Yeah.
The intention behind me asking is because we have a lot of inventory that we may be able to match you up with. So I'm curious, if you were to sell this home now, were you moving? Are you staying in town or moving out of town altogether?
okay.
So try that.
I'm curious because there is a lot of inventory that we can match you up with. And I got tongue-tied.
It's okay. Yeah. So do you have some listings, or do your partners and your brokerage have a lot of listings in the area?
Are we role playing still?
No, I'm asking you, right? Because it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation. Don't complicate it for yourself. It's like, just think about it. Do you have inventory in this area that you're calling?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Could you potentially match this person that you're talking to right now with the listings that you have, or the listings that your brokerage has?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, perfect. So that's why I'm asking this question, because we have a lot of listings in the area. So if you were still staying in town, we may be able to match you up with one of our listings that we have. So let me ask you, if you sold this home, were you staying here locally or are you moving out of town altogether? Yeah, does that make sense, Gloria?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah, so
writing
I
all
would
this
try
stuff
that.
down.
Okay, good. Well, it's all recorded, so yeah, let's try to roll into it. I'm pushing you hard today. It's good.
I like that. It's okay. I like the challenge.
Good. All right, so ask me again.
Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this John?
Yes, this is. Who's this?
Hi, John. This is Gloria Camarillo. And I was wondering about your property at 123 Banana Street. It came off the market this morning.
Yes, yeah, we took it off the market. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
I was curious. We do have a lot of inventory that I can match you up with. Is there a reason why you took it off?
No, don't go there yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you're mixing two processes. So if you sold this home, where would you go next? Well, why is that important? Well, the reason why I asked is because
Then that's where I'm curious because there's a lot of inventory that I can match you up with.
that's right. There you go. Okay, go from there.
You guys are going to kill me this morning.
That's right. Hey,
Thanks, John, for
comfort-
confirming that.
comfort is the enemy of growth.
No, it's not. It's not about, well, yes, it's comfort, but it's just that I've never done cold calls. So I'm diving into a world that I've never, gone into. So for me to be live here with all of you guys here, then the rest of my day is going to feel like crap.
Oh, the rest of your day is gonna feel like gravy.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Because, you gotta do something that sucks right in the morning, then everything else is easy. If you did
Right.
stuff that's all easy throughout the morning and all of a sudden something goes wrong, then you're like, oh my God, my day is over. My life is over. You have no
Right.
adversity quotient, AQ. You don't
Yeah.
know how to overcome stuff that's hard. I'm giving you something hard right in the morning. So once you overcome this, everything else is gravy. Now when you call people, it's like, oh, piece of cake. Way easier than what John was pushing me to do today. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Yes.
All right, so let's go again.
Okay. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, is this John?
Yes, this is. Who's this?
Hi, John. This is Gloria Camarillo. And I was wondering about your property at 123 Banana Street. It came off the market this morning.
Yes, yeah, no, we're taking it off the market, but you know, you're welcome to give me a call back. You're an agent, right?
I am, yes. I'm a
Yeah,
local agent.
maybe give me a call back in 6 months. Appreciate the call.
And that's where, is that the, I'm curious one, because now we're switching it back to,
Yeah, so you know, you
okay.
could say, yeah, no, I certainly will give you a call right back in 6 months. Let me ask you while I have you here, if you sold this home, where would you potentially go next?
Okay,
Just go ahead and ask.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll give you a call back in 6 months, not a problem. But I'm just curious, if you were to sell your home now, where would you move next?
Sorry, why is that important?
Oh, just curious because the intent here is to match you with some inventory that we have available locally.
And so if you did sell, then would you stay here locally or move out of town altogether? Okay.
And
Try.
if you did sell, would you stay here locally or move out of the area?
Yeah, we're looking to stay here locally. We're actually looking to downsize from this house here, but you know, I've been here 20 years and you know, we're in no hurry whatsoever. That's why we wanted to take a break. We've been on the market 180 days. So definitely if you want to give me a call back in 6 months, be happy to chat with you. And we're going to interview some agents then.
Got it, got it. So great that you want to stay locally and you want to downsize. You've had a long time at your current home, so
Yeah,
you
it's been
might
a
have a
while.
equity.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
And you did mention you were in the market for 180 days.
Hmm.
Well, you have a beautiful home, I wonder why why do you think it didn't sell?
It was the market. I mean, we spent a lot of time on the market, didn't have a lot of showings or we didn't actually have any offers. So I just decided to tell the agent, you know, why don't we just let it lapse and you know, we'll take a break. We'll certainly come back. But I told him, you know, we're gonna go ahead and, you know, seek another option when we're ready.
I see, I see. Okay. So not a lot of showings and no offers, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Currently right now we do still have a lot of buyers and sellers in the market doing transactions. So um, may I make a recommendation to you?
Oh, sure. What's
You
that?
know, I love to go ahead and pop by your house and take a look and share with you what we do to get homes sold within 60 days. We do have a good
Oh.
track record and no commitment whatsoever, just to share with you what we do. Is
Well,
that okay
why
with
don't
you?
you yeah, again, you know, I'd be happy to chat with you. Do you want to just pop your card and your package in the mail and then, you know, I'll keep it on file and we'll be ready in 6 months.
Certainly I can go ahead and do that, but it would be best to go ahead and meet for just a few minutes. Market changes all the time. And right now we do have a good seller's market, and I would love for you to take advantage of that and, miss the opportunity. So it would just take a few minutes of your time. Like I said, no commitment, just a quick pop by. Is that okay with you?
I mean, if you want to drop it off in person, I don't mind that, but you know, I'm
Sure.
not going to sign anything. So
No, no,
you're
no.
welcome to drop by. That's fine. I'm just
Great.
you know, not looking to list a home right now, just so we're clear.
I understand completely and I respect that. So what about tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m.?
Yeah, no, you're fine to drop by. That's fine.
Great. Okay. Then I will go ahead and stop by at that time. In the meantime, is there an email address that I can get from you just to send my contact information over?
Oh, sure, it's blah blah blah. You can go ahead and send it over. That's fine.
Great. Is this a correct phone number for you as well?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, John, so this is what we'll do. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll stop by and I'll go ahead and drop off some information to you. And then thereafter, we'll go ahead and talk. And if there's anything else that we can do, then, you'll have my information. Okay?
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Gloria. All right. You're good job. Good job. You're amiable, right?
I think.
Very amiable. Super sweet. And Gloria, you've been doing this a long time, right?
Real estate, yes, but not cold calling at all.
Okay. How long in real estate?
Part-time since 2006
Okay.
and full-time in the last 24 months.
In the last 24 months. So you've been in real estate a long time. Let's just
Yeah.
say that it's been
Yeah.
17, 18 years, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So have that confidence when you're talking to me like so sweetly. And I think when you brought yourself to the conversation, you're very nurturing, very nice, and people like that. I feel the warmth from you. As long as you can get past the reflex no in the first 30 to 50 seconds, you're good to
Right.
go. Okay. So
Okay.
the few words that I want you to really watch and tweak and perhaps even eliminate from your script are the words why and the words but.
Okay.
Like I said, why did you wear a fleece today? It's not negative, but it sounds
Right.
like it.
Right.
And when we say but, it negates everything that the prospect said beforehand. Now, I understand you want to take it off, but I think it's a great time for you.
Okay.
Makes sense? Okay, Aaron,
Or
go
I
ahead.
really like you, John, but
But
Oh no, Aaron.
Aaron's in the
no.
room.
Oh, no, he's here.
That's fantastic, isn't it, John? That's fantastic. So, yeah, like I
Morning,
think-
Aaron.
Good morning. Yeah, and I want to first of all acknowledge you for having the courage to do it and do it on screen, because if you notice, half the people in the room have their screens off, and it's because of insecurity. So, congratulations on that. And the thing that I'm aware of is just being like hyper focused. I know in this setting you're hyper focused on setting the appointment. The goal is to be hyper focused on discovering what their problem is, and if they still have a desire to actually sell, so that way you can help them to accomplish their goals and objectives. So like staying really curious. So when John was like, yeah, we don't want to know what we're going to do, that's okay. My job's to help you. It's never to talk you into doing anything. I guess I'm curious though, while I have you on the phone, when you initially put it on, I can see here in the pictures, it's very well upgraded. It's in a great geographic area. I don't need to tell you that, which by the way, timeout, flattery always works. Always. I don't need to tell you that. Was there any particular reason you were even considering selling it when you put on the market? So if you notice my tonality is like, why would you ever do that? And now they're going to start to talk to you. They're going to be like, well, we wanted to get into a different school district, or, we're downsizing, or it's a job, like whatever the case may be. But I'm genuinely interested in that. Notice my focus isn't on setting an appointment. My focus is on finding out what their problem is, so I can see if I can solve it or not. And then let's say they're like, yeah, we want to get into a better school district. It's like, okay. And I'm curious, because my job, again, is to help you. It's never to talk you to do anything. Is that still important to you, or have things changed forever? Now, the reason why I'm using that language is, notice I'm slamming the door shut. It's like, is that still important to you, or have they changed forever? And when I say forever, if people are not in that kind of frame of mind, they're going to be like, well, not forever. It's like, okay, so it is something that you still want to do. Now, if they do say, yes, they're going to have to take me out in a pine box, you're like, okay, well, hopefully that won't be anytime too soon. But now I'm clear. I want to ask questions that get me to a definite no or a definite yes. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then as I continue to progress, notice is my focus on setting an appointment?
No.
No, it's on finding out what the problem is and finding out if you still want to accomplish your goals and objectives. Now, let's say they're like, yeah, it is still important to us. Okay, so it sounds like you still want to make the move happen. You're just not specifically clear through no fault of your own, which, by the way, do humans ever want to accept responsibility for them not doing something? Never. They'll blame everybody else. They'll blame the government. They'll blame taxes. They'll blame fucking the agent. They'll blame Zillow. They'll blame everybody else, except the fact that they were stubborn and didn't want to lower the price. So it's like, well, through no fault of your own, you're not specifically clear as to why it's not selling or what you need to change to ensure that it does. I'm curious, how did you happen to pick the previous agent? Now, by asking it in that sequence, who am I blaming for the home not selling?
The agent.
The agent. But did I say that?
No.
No. So you guys are like, well, are you familiar with the techniques that I use? And I've sold so many homes and I've been selling real estate for 19 years. Like, no. Okay. Instead, like, how'd you happen to pick the previous agent? I'm inferring that the agent is the reason why it didn't sell. I'm not actually saying that, but I'm inferring it. And you get that as an adult and a human. You're like, well, they were a friend from church. It's like, okay, I see why you felt that was a good idea. Remember, flattery always works. What most people do is want to argue with them. Well, you know, that's not one of the best ways to hire somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing, bro? It doesn't actually help, right? So I see why you felt that was a good idea. And I'm wondering, you strike me to be someone who understands this process pretty well. Guys, does flattery always work? Yes. I'm basically saying, hey, you know what you're doing, which clearly you fucking don't. It's like, hey, you strike me to be someone who understands this process pretty well. You know, being that it didn't sell, what do you think the agent should have been doing? So you could do something simple, which is just to get an offer and get in a better school district for you and your family. Like, what do you think we should do? It's like, well, you know, I think they should be more aggressive and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, and let's say they say like, yeah, they should be more aggressive and they should be like, you know, they weren't communicating with us. I would interrupt them. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that the agent wasn't giving you updates every week, letting you know how come the home wasn't selling and what you need to change to ensure that it does? Notice I'm like, that's ridiculous. And they're like, no, wow. Well, let me be the first to tell you that you definitely deserve better service than that. And I'm wondering, because again, I can hear in your voice, you still want to make this happen, just frustrated with the process. If you had an offer that was very reasonable, very acceptable, of course, in the next, I don't know, 30, 45 days that would allow you to still make this move and get in that better school district, do you think you would still sell the property? Be quiet. Yeah, I probably would. Okay, well, just by you saying that demonstrates that we should get together and discuss the options. May I make a suggestion? Now, notice, now I'm in a closing sequence. But the whole conversation up until then is to discover what the problem is. Where what most agents do, and I understand where the training comes from, but they're constantly like, you know, everything they say, they're like, well, we're not sure. Great, we should get together. Yeah, we're just going to keep it. Great, that's why we should meet. You know, like, I'm not sure why it didn't sell. Great, that's why, like, they're constantly trying to, their focus is to set an appointment instead of to discover what the problem is. And then and only then, now that I've been clear that you still want to sell, your motivation's high, you have a very clear reason as to why you want to do it, now we go into a closing sequence at the end.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Good. Great job. And again, I would just want to acknowledge you for having the courage to be on camera and to give it a shot.
Love it. Awesome. So great to see you, Gloria. All right. Who else would like to role play? What do we all work on?
The only additional thing I would say is, as it relates to expired, sometimes they're receiving so many phone calls that they're gonna, depending on where you're calling, they're gonna start saying like, no, we're no longer interested in selling. And the reality is that they're saying that just to get you off the phone. So like, let's say that they say, no, I'm no longer interested in selling. And you say, not a problem. Is it something you'd consider in the future? Or is the plan to keep it forever? And then they say something along the lines like, oh, well, I'm keeping it forever. It's funny because I'll say something along the lines like, okay, great. Let me ask you this. Like, if you had a buyer, if there was a buyer out there that was like willing to make you a really good offer, is that something that you would still consider? And that person that was like, I'm keeping it forever, all of a sudden you throw like a little carrot out there, you dangle a little carrot, all of a sudden their true intentions come out. They're like, well, if you had somebody that was still wanting to, I would do it. And now it leads the conversation in a different direction as well too. So just a little pro tip for you guys as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Lana, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. What would you like to work on?
out. My biggest struggle is asking questions.
Asking questions.
But
For
why?
Why? I feel I'm being rushed to get off the phone. I feel that energy coming through, and I'm letting it affect me.
Okay. I'm curious though, is your kind of point of reference and your identity based around like knowing things?
I have that expectation for myself, yes.
Yes.
And I
So what I'm aware of is that's really what's going on.
yes.
Is that you want to be the person that knows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I set the bar high for myself, so
I know. And look, underneath that, I just had a coaching call with somebody where he tried to tell me the same thing. He's like, those are just my standards. I'm like, no, bro, you're attached to being right. He was like, no, those are just my standards. I'm like, no, listen to me. You are attached to being right. And here's what I can tell you, Lana. And again, without really knowing you that well, and I mean this with love, okay? Yes. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. This shows up in other areas in your life too. It definitely does. Shows up in business relationships, shows up in personal relationships, where I have a hard time not like I have to be right. So I don't let shit go, and I constantly make statements all the time.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Pretty close.
Pretty close, which is pretty wild because like I don't even know you that well. So, but that's the real issue. Do you see? You think it's one thing when it's actually something else. You think it's like, oh, I need to get more confident because I feel rushed off the phone. No, you're attached to being right, and they're not letting you speak. God damn it! For you to let them know how much you know.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I just need to change that reference, which is like, again, like what I was sharing previously, is that our job is really to discover people's problems. I cannot do that if I'm speaking. The other thing that's interesting about constantly speaking is an attempt to try to prove myself worthy. I'm trying to dazzle you with all I know, so that way you'll be like, oh my God. Like I have to prove that I'm like worthy of your time and worthy of your conversation. It's like, bro, I know I'm worthy. It's not a fucking question of that. I know I can help you. It's not a question of if I can or can't. It's really just a question of me asking some questions, Lana, so that way I can determine what your goals and objectives are, and if you still want to accomplish them, and if so, coming up with a game plan to help you to get what you want in the time you want. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Isn't that so? Can you see that if I come from that place, I don't feel rushed?
Yes, I need to change my perspective, my mindset.
Yes. So if I think that I need to demonstrate how much I know to prove myself worthy, then I will feel rushed. Because you're not letting me show you how worthy I am and how I am right. You see?
Yes, I see.
Notice during that conversation that I just ran through, how many times did I talk about what I know?
Nothing.
And did I make any statements about myself?
Nope.
Nope. You know why? Because I'm secure. You know what insecure people do? Talk about themselves all the time.
You hit the nail on the head. I have that insecurity about getting on the phones.
Yeah, and this is okay. And look, I really appreciate your authenticity because, like, again, I think part of the reason why we don't produce outcomes is because we think it's one thing when it's actually something else.
Yes.
We're like, oh, I need to learn my scripts better and fucking, I got to do this and I got to, like, no, bro.
I have every excuse in the book to not get on the phones.
Yeah, I get it. But underneath it is fear.
It is.
It's fear that if I'm not accepted, then I won't be loved. That's what's underneath it. If I'm not accepted, then I'm not good enough. If people don't say yes to me, it's a reflection of who I am as a person. Guys, I had 7,000 people that I spoke to one year. I got 142 to say yes. Do you know how many shits I give about the 6,860 people that said no? Exactly this many. 2 shits. I don't care. Do you see what I'm saying? We get so caught up in the people that say no, like, oh my God, I'm such a bad person. I'm so terrible because they said no to me. I'm like, bro, these are strangers, bro.
So my thing is more of like, I don't care if they cuss me out, tell me fuck off, you know, go get a real job, whatever. I laugh that off. The
Yeah.
part is not asking the questions to get the appointment. That's the fear that I have, the fear of not securing the appointment.
Yeah, but you see what's happening is you're standing in the way because of a need to be right and a need to prove yourself worthy. It's actually what's blocking you. If you let go of that, it's like, look, I already am worthy. Imagine going to every phone call like I don't have to prove myself to anybody.
Okay.
Imagine that. And imagine not feeling like it's a race that you have to get your 2 cents in to show them how much you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, notice how free flowing that conversation was when I was just asking questions of them.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say like somebody was pursuing you, you know, in some way, like they wanted to hang out with you or whatever. And all they did was talk about themselves.
Wow.
How attractive would that be?
Not at all.
Yeah, but yet we do this all the time.
Yes.
Not only that, imagine that you could feel that they felt they were in a competition with you to speak.
Mm-hmm.
How would that feel?
I just need to not give a fuck.
That's essentially it. But the question is how do you do that? You know, I had somebody say to me, they're like, well, Aaron, how do you do that? How do you show up in a sauna on Zoom? How do you just do whatever the fuck you want? I said, here's how, okay? It's proper perspective. I need you to understand something. In 100 years, everybody that you know will be dead. Nobody will even remember you were on the planet. So why do I care what anybody thinks? Like we make it into like this huge thing and we make it like a reflection of like how we see ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like every time somebody comments when I wear glasses in a video, they're like, oh, why are you wearing glasses in a video? I'm like, because you can't resist commenting. Ta-da! Because you're playing a status game, which you want to say that you're better than me because you don't wear glasses inside. I'm playing wealth games. Ta-da! You're helping me get more attention by commenting to try to make yourself feel better. Ta-da! Which what's really true is you're just fucking afraid to do it yourself. Ta-da! So that's the real issue. Practice your script so you know what to say, but then it's internal.
Okay.
I appreciate your vulnerability and your authenticity, though, because I know the story of one is a story of all. There's other people on this call that feel the same way.
I know other people are feeling the same.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I would say as well too, Aaron, the other thing I would say that sometimes you can hear people that their introduction on the script causes the other person to cause it. You know that example that you've given about like the first 30 seconds of a call is almost like riding a bull.
Yep.
And that once you get past that 30 seconds, the bull actually like calms down. But in the first 30 seconds, the bull may do all kinds of stuff as well too. I think that sometimes we poke at the bull by what we say as well too. So like I'll tell you a couple things that people do in the introduction that cause the bull to get poked. So they'll be like, hey, I'm looking for Aaron. Hey, Aaron, this is Jose Morales with EXP Realty or Remax or Century 21 or whatever company you're with. I think saying the company name right off the bat causes the party on the other side to be like, oh, fuck, this is a sales call.
Or it can. Like, let's say they have a bad experience or like whatever. So to your point, I can just be like, hey, my name is Aaron. I'm a local real estate agent. Which is like...
Or you could even say, hey, I'm looking for Aaron. Hey, Aaron, Jose Morales. I'm calling about your property on 123 Banana. What that's done now, it's like, okay, what about my property? Which means I have your attention. Great. The reason for my phone call is I noticed it came off the marketplace recently and was just wondering, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home? Okay. But I think like, and the way to think about this is like, how many of you guys have ever received a call from Zillow? Like basically saying, hey, like, would you like to buy leads? And as soon as the person on the phone says, hey, this is Amy with Zillow, you think to yourself, fuck, this is a sales call. Why did I even answer? I'm prospecting. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. So there's little tweaks to the introduction that you can do to make it so that you're not poking at the bull to buck even harder than it normally bucks already, basically.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that'll help. But I think what
yeah,
you
and
said,
if you show up and like your tonality is like, hi, I was looking to speak to Jose, like it's just weak versus like, hi, I was looking to speak to Jose.
yeah,
it's just different.
or you have a high
I
pitch
was
to
looking
it.
to speak to Jose.
Say it again.
Hi, I was looking to speak to Jose.
Just talking, she needs to be muted. But yeah, like you know, if I have an upswing, like, hi, I was looking to speak to Jose, which is like, hi, do you ever want to go out sometime? Maybe, provided you're not doing anything. Like it just, what's happening is externally, it's an external manifestation of the kind of uneasiness or uncertainty inside. Is really what's going on. And people can sense that. They can pick up on it. You know what I'm saying? They can feel it. So versus like, you know, that opening, like you're saying, like, hi, I was calling about the home that's for sale off 1265 Banana Street. Is this Jose Morales? So it drops at the, yeah, this is Jose. Great. Well, my name is Aaron. I'm a local real estate agent. And I'm sure by now you figured out that your property came off the market as an expired listing. I was reaching out to you, obviously, simply just to find out if and when you plan on putting the home back on the market this time so you can actually get it sold, and then be quiet. It's just, they're going to be much more receptive to that based on the tonality.
I agree with that.
Nino, go ahead. Been waiting.
Hello, everyone. I would like to do like the expired script, but based on the objections I just received.
Do you want to just do the objections? Because it's probably more an effective way to get to it.
Yeah, probably. So when you're asking, how do you know your other agent or the agent you're going to use? Basically the objection is I have another agent.
Yeah, it's like, look, I'm respectful of that. And I have to imagine that when you put it on the market 6 months ago, you felt very comfortable and confident with the agent that they can actually get the job done. And unfortunately, we're still here 6 months from now and the home didn't sell. So what I find is that if the decision is to put it back on the market, I know that that's a business decision about who can help you net the most and do it quickly and efficiently. And as such, it usually makes sense to get more than one opinion with regards to marketing strategy, price, and commission. Do you think that would be helpful or useful in this instance?
Well, you're asking me to dump my other agent, and the other agent actually is my friend's father.
Oh yeah, look, and I'm totally respectful of that, you know? And what I'm aware of is there's two separate things going on here. One is like a relationship from a personal perspective. The second is a business decision. And I'm curious, have you ever heard culturally that like it usually doesn't make sense to mix business with personal?
Well, now you're teaching me what I should be doing.
Yeah, well, you know, the reason why there's those cliches is because they're usually true. And it's usually like uncomfortable to have a straightforward, candid conversation with somebody from a personal perspective if they're not delivering. So let me ask you this. Were you happy with the level of offers you were receiving on the home?
Well, that was the market, I know, because he's a very good agent and he works in our area.
Yeah, and I'm respectful of that. You know, at the same time, I oftentimes hear that when homes aren't selling like that, the agents will blame the market. I don't know if you know this, but in your price point in the last 6 months while your home was on the market, there were 52 other homes that sold between $500,000 and $600,000. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know. We got an offer. They were lowball offers, and we're not going to accept the price.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to. At the same time, the question isn't to me whether or not people are buying and selling every day. They definitely are. The real question is specifically how come they're not choosing yours? I'm wondering if you could virtually be guaranteed to get an offer that's acceptable simply by augmenting a few things, would that be worth 10 to 15 minutes of your time and a second opinion?
Yes. Have you seen my house?
I've seen it online, and obviously I'd love to have the opportunity to see it in person. So with all that being said, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
Well, based on what you've been kind enough to share with me, I'm hearing a couple things very clearly. The first one is you still want to sell. It's not a question of if, it's just a matter of when and who's going to help you. The second thing I'm hearing from you is you recognize that there's, you know, a little bit of friction because you hired a personal friend or the father of a friend, and you're not getting the outcome that you want. So you don't owe me anything, that's for sure. At the same time, you don't owe them anything. you really owe it to yourself to get all the information you need so you can make a decision that will actually help you to accomplish your goals. So what I'd love to do is this. I'd love to pop by, take a look, see what it has to offer in person. And while I am there, show you a couple things. Number one, how come it's not selling? Very clearly and specifically. Number two, what you would need to change in terms of a more proactive and aggressive approach to get an offer that's acceptable. And then I can answer any questions you may have. And at least this way, whatever you decide to do, whether you put on the market with me or somebody else, you'll have all the most important information you need so you can make the best decision for you and your family in terms of how to proceed. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah, it's okay. Well, that property is tenanted. If you want to go. I will have my friend actually arrange the viewing for you. So after you see the property, then we can talk.
Yeah, and here's what we can do, because I'm in these homes all the time. You know, I have the good fortune of helping a lot of families on a regular basis. So I can get a very clear picture based on what it has to offer, you know, in terms of pictures and Google Maps and things of that nature. Plus, we've done a lot of business in this geographic area. So what I would propose that we do is that we connect via Zoom. I'll do that homework. I'll send it to you via email. We'll review it. The purpose and objective of that market analysis is to get a tight, realistic range, not a pinpoint to the penny. We'll go over how come it didn't sell, what we need to change to ensure that it does. If you do decide to proceed and you think it makes sense, then I can schedule a time with the tenant and I can take a look and we can firm that up. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yes, but you are saying you already had a look at my property, right?
Yeah, I can see it again with all the pictures and everything. You know, I'm curious, like say you were going to go and stay at an Airbnb. Do you physically go to the property?
No.
No, you
Of
can see
course not.
everything and things of that nature. And the same is true here. So I'm looking here at my schedule. If we were to connect under normal conditions, would you be available in the evenings or the afternoons to spend 10, 15 minutes via Zoom?
Can you just tell me like a couple of points that you would do differently?
Yeah, so here's the thing, you know, I could tell you over the phone, but I wouldn't be able to show you and prove to you specifically what we're doing in order to get, you know, contracts that are acceptable for our clients and about X amount of properties sold in the last 12 months. So really what's best is for me to do this homework, we connect, we review it together as a team, and then if it all makes sense, we can discuss next steps. If not, then that's okay too. So again, I'm looking here, if we're to connect, do you think evenings or afternoons would work for, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes via Zoom?
Well, Zoom 15 minutes is fine. I just want to let you know that most likely I really appreciate your information and I'm looking forward to it, but I cannot just, he will be really upset. So I have to most likely go with our agent.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Can I ask you a very simple, straightforward question?
Yeah, sure.
Because you struck me to be a straightforward person. I'm the same way. Which is more valuable to you at this stage in kind of this property and where you are in life and the reasons why you want to sell? To do somebody a favor or to actually sell it?
Well, to sell it for the price I want, but if he couldn't do it, then
Well, which I appreciate.
okay.
Ask you a question. Are there some doctors that can get you results and some that can't?
Mm-hmm.
You know what the great news is?
What is it?
You're speaking to somebody who can get you the result. So we'll connect the information together as a team, and if it makes sense, we'll proceed, and if not, that's okay. All I ask is that you go in with an open mind, because the most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. And what I'm aware is for the last 6 months while this property's been sitting on the market, how much has it cost you per month to keep it?
Well, yes, but I don't like, if I don't sell it, if I don't get my price, I will continue renting it out.
Okay, and that's your prerogative, but wouldn't you like to know what's causing it not to sell so you can make that decision from an educated place instead of just guessing?
True. So yes, let's book this Zoom call.
Hey, that's how it's done, son.
Thank you.
That was fire.
So
Wow.
what are you, look, Kenny like that? I even got a smile out of Kenny. Let's go. So what are you aware of as I do that? Because I'm not just doing that to hear myself speak. Like, what are you aware of? I'm asking you.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Yeah, what are you aware of as I do that? Because I'm not just doing that to hear myself speak. Like, what are you know?
I'm aware that you're really listening and you are not really kind of addressing the direct concerns that she's giving you. For example, oh, he's my friend. Would you want me to dump him? And like, you are not really reacting to those kind of arguments.
Yeah, and I'm also taking status back constantly, because what you're trying to do is take status away from me. Like, oh, like fucking, like I'm probably gonna live with the other agent, or like, oh, like you know, can't you just tell me over the phone? But I'm constantly pulling status back. You're trying to diminish me, and I keep pulling it back. And then I'm asking you very straightforward down the question. I know because I watch Jake go like this, or Jerry go like, right? Because they're right down the pipe. And when I did that, what was interesting, it's like a pattern interrupt because your brain is like convinced that something's true. But when I ask you those really powerful questions, it interrupts the pattern and it forces you to think. This is why what I was saying to Lana, like most people think that speaking forces people to think. It fucking doesn't. Asking questions cause people to pause, and you would even hear it. Did you hear how hard Lana she was trying to be like, no? But I would ask questions, and she would be like, huh? Do I go look at an Airbnb? Fucking, I don't.
I really like that analogy. Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
My pleasure.
I think the other thing, Aaron, is that like you've practiced so much where it's not like there's, and if we think about it, how many times are we going to hear, send me the information over the phone? How many times are we going to hear, like, I've already got a friend in the business? How many times are we going to hear, just pop by the property, or like, I'm not going to list with you? You're going to hear this all the time. So why not like learn the answers to these things, you know? So that when you are in a situation like this, it's not like you're like, oh man, like not knowing what to say. You already have a response as to what to say, and it just comes out.
Yeah, and I love when I role play with people live or in groups. I'm always like, oh, this is cute. You think you're gonna fucking stump me? That's cute.
What throws me off is they're kind of when they're very angry, when they're very rude and very kind of,
Yeah, but you
know.
just have to address it up front. Like, listen, I can hear in your voice that you're very frustrated with this process, and I want to be clear. My intention in reaching out is simply to find out if I can help you in some way. If I can, great. If not, that's okay too. Like, you just have to address it, and address when they try to diminish you in some way, like try to lower your
And
status.
I noticed how. And I noticed how you didn't even ask how I happen to know the real estate agent, maybe because I already told you.
Yeah, but
when I asked that question, somebody told me it's none of your business how I know my agent.
Yeah, and when you think about it, like,
it doesn't really matter either.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But did you hear the really straightforward question I asked? I'm like, look, do I have permission to ask you a straightforward question? You were like, yeah. And I was like, because you strike me to be a straightforward person, I'm the same way. What's more important to you at this stage in your life and with this particular property and situation, to do somebody a favor or to actually sell it?
Yeah, no, that was great.
And then you were like, that forces you to think. And you're like, well, I really want to fucking sell it. Okay.
Yeah.
Fadi,
I'm done. Thank you.
go ahead.
So I'm having a little bit of a problem with slowing down. Like I talk so fast that I don't know, I can't like then it sounds like I'm getting nervous. Because I'm talking so fast that I'm like,
hey, do you know why it sounds like you're getting nervous?
Because I am.
Yes.
Which I am getting a little nervous.
Yeah. So how can you? What I find is what allows you to slow down is to knowing what to say. It allows you to slow down. So like, think about this in sports. Like when people, it's funny because my son's like 13, so he's like, playing soccer and stuff. And what I find is like a lot of them, they're young and they have all this energy and they watch a lot of YouTube with the fucking 1v1. So they're trying to be like rock stars every time they touch the ball. But it's not like refined and they can't slow the game down. And the reason they can't slow the game down is because they don't know the fundamentals. They can't dribble with their head up so they can look out. They don't know how to pass the ball. So what allows me to slow down is really knowing what to say, because then I don't have to worry about it anymore. So if you notice in that role play, in that role play, there was zero emotion on my part, and I was like just not speeding up or rushing or like anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always tell people, bro, that chanting is one of the most underrated things that people can do, and nobody does it. But I remember
Yeah.
when I would chant back in the day, that was what actually allowed me to focus on the delivery aspect of it. It would allow me to focus on the delivery. And then because I was chanting so many different questions and so many different scripts, I would find myself just having things come out. Like they would say something like, well, why don't you do this? And then all of a sudden, I would just say what I practice in the scripts. But nobody, like everybody's role playing, but nobody's really chanting the scripts out. And I firmly believe that chanting is one of the key recipes in knowing what to say, basically.
Yeah, I agree, because it's like, the quote is, repetition is the mother of learning and the father of action, which makes it the architect of accomplishment.
It's like muscle memory.
Yeah, muscle memory.
And here's the thing I want everybody to realize is that your muscles actually don't have memory. I understand the saying, but they don't. What's really happening is, okay, so you have neural networks, and they end up forming like pathways. And there's a particular coding that goes around them when you fire down that pathway a lot. So it makes it faster and easier to fire down, like to execute it, right? It's like a myelin sheath. And by doing things over and over again, it builds up the myelin around that neural pathway. So it's very easy to fire down. It's like kind of like, you know what it's like? An analogy would be like, let's say there's a trail, you're going hiking, and a whole bunch of people walk down the same trail all the time. What's going to happen? Like a natural sidewalk is going to show up naturally, where the grass doesn't grow and like all that shit, right? And the same is true with learning this process. So any like role play combined with chanting, because I chanted too for like a very long time in my Crocs in my office, and everybody thought I was crazy. I just shut the door and be like, hi, I was called by the homeless for shopping entries. It's great. My name's Aaron Local Real Estate. Like 10 times as fast as I could, expireds, 10 times as fast as I could, FISBOs, 10 times pre-qual, and 1 time the listing presentation all the way through. I would do that every day. Like,
but you're talking about you chanted the whole entire script? You guys chanted the whole entire script?
Yes.
And I know,
but again, I think about this, Fatih. So, people were kind enough to share after that role play, like, oh my God, that was a boss, or awesome. You get rewarded in public for what you spend countless hours doing in private. You realize I haven't called an expired listing in like 5 years, and I can still do that shit with ease.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like what you're seeing, it's like we focus on the wrong thing. You're seeing the end result, but nobody was standing there with me when I was in my Crocs fucking chanting. Nobody was standing with me while I was hand reading out the listing presentation. Like nobody, you know what I mean? But then they see the end result and they think like I'm special. I'm like, no. Like it's not. It's just like nauseating, disgusting amounts of practice to where I can fire down that pathway. Like as we were doing that role play, as she starts to object, I already know what she's going to say and I already know where to go.
Aaron, how do you handle prospect that's angry and she or he won't stop talking? Just taking all the anger. So many real estate agents are contacting me. Do you think I don't know how to sell my home? I have my own
I would
agent.
just acknowledge it. You have to like, again, it's like a bull. So it's like, listen, I can hear in your voice that you're very frustrated and angry. And truthfully, if I was you and I had my home on the market for 6 months, somebody made me all these promises and it didn't sell. Now I'm being bombarded with phone calls. I'd probably feel the same way. So you're justified in that. And I'll be sure to take it off my list. I guess I'm curious though, while I have you on the phone, your home's lovely. It's in a great geographic area. I know it's in great school districts. I can see you've done some upgrades. If you don't mind me asking, was there any particular reason you were even considering selling it? So in other words, I'm acknowledging the emotional component. I'm not agreeing with you, but I'm acknowledging it.
But do you ask her to stop? Do you ask her, do you interrupt?
No, listen to me. Yeah, let me ask you a question, okay? Are you married?
Me personally, or the client?
Yes. No, I'm asking you personally. Okay, have you ever been in a relationship?
Yeah.
Okay, if somebody said to you to calm down while you're fucking angry, well, how does that usually work?
Yeah, I totally agree.
The opposite. Like yes. Go ahead and try that with like your significant other or whatever. Be like, hey, calm the fuck down. What are you doing? Like, stop it. That will not work. Okay? At all.
Okay.
So you know what will work though is acknowledgement. Hey babe, check it out. I'm aware that it seems to be that something's bothering you and that you're angry. And I just want you to know that I'm here to talk to you about it when you're ready. And then shut up. I want you to be clear. My intention isn't to be right. It's not to fight with you. It's not to argue. Like, I'm just here to talk to you. When you're ready, we'll have that conversation. How's that sound?
Perfect.
And then it just gets drained out of you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So this has to do
Thank
with
you.
emotional intelligence. It's like we're trying to fight with people and that just doesn't work. Like, just acknowledge it. Like, look, I get it. And if I were you, I'd feel the same way. And I'll be sure to take it off my list. And when I say that, what happens? It's like, oh, this is done.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be the only one that actually acknowledged that with them. Everybody else is like, oh, you're pissed off? Fantastic. Let's talk about putting it on the market. Like, it's just done.
Great.
All right. Great work today, guys. Why don't we go to takeaways? Lana, what's your takeaway? Can't hear you. Oh, good. How about Nino? What's your takeaway today?
Hi, to maintain the calmness and to actually like not to react to their reactions.
Patience, in other words. I love it. Thank you. Jose, takeaway, insight.
I would just say chant, you know?
Not just role play, chant.
Yes.
Good. Aaron.
Yeah, so I would just say that this is a learnable skill. Resist the temptation to try to think that some people are like gifted or talented, because that's like a myth where some people like, you know, they possess something that you don't. When the fact is that we get a lot of questions around trying to like expedite and looking for a magic answer. And the real answer is a nauseating, disgusting amount of practice. That's it. I'd love to be able to outsource push-ups to the Philippines and get diesel. Just doesn't fucking work. There's some things you have to do yourself. So stop being a little bitch and do them.
I love it. Wow. Enough said. Guys, happy hump day. We'll see y'all back here next week. Thank you very much. Make it a great day. Let's go.